Yeah. Hi, Aakashraj. Should we start now?
Hi Fahad, yes, we can get started, I guess.
Okay. Sure. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's enlightening session on From Campus to Climate Impact, an introduction to smart proteins. I am Faheduddin, working as a scientific curator at Concepo Scientech International, and I'll be your moderator for this webinar. Kaleido Koncepts is a market research and advisory platform dedicated to delivering actionable insights across various sectors, including life sciences, healthcare, FMCG, and infrastructure. We offer syndicated reports, customized reports, and bespoke research solutions tailored to meet the unique needs of our clients and to make them informed decisions and drive their business growth. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today, Mr. Aakashraj Bhople, an industry associate at the Good Food Institutes, India. Aakashraj facilitates multi-stakeholder to drive growth and development in smart protein sector. As a chemical and food tech engineer with experience across startups, equipment manufacturing, and public sector industries, Akash Raj has a nuanced understanding of the sector and its potential leverage. He leverages consumer intelligence and stakeholder analysis to work towards improving the upstream value chain for smart proteins in India. The Good Food Institutes India is a leading organization and expert convening body for India's emerging smart protein sector. As a part of an international network of organizations across US, Brazil, Europe, Japan, and APAC, GFI India is on a mission to build a secure, sustainable, and equitable global food systems. So, without further delay, I now hand over the session to Akash Raj, who will guide us through the insightful topic. Akash Raj, over to you.
Thank you, Fahad. So is my screen visible?
Yes.
That's great. So good evening, everyone, and thank you, Fahad, and the team at Kaleido Concepts and Concepo who have been like interacting with us for a while now, and we are really happy to collaborate with them for this webinar series on smart proteins. My name is Aakashraj Bhople, and I am the industry associate at the Good Food Institute India. I'm incredibly excited to be opening this new webinar series in collaboration with Kaleido Concepts and Concepo, especially because today's conversation is close to my heart, both professionally and personally. This session is designed especially for students, early career professionals, and academic communities who are curious about the future of food and their role in shaping it. Over next 40 minutes, we will cover what smart proteins are, why they matter in the context of climate, health, and food security, how this field is evolving in India and globally, and what meaningful opportunities exist for you to engage, whether as a researcher, student, or entrepreneur. Let's get started. And before starting with my presentation, I would like to give a brief overview of my organization and our work. The Good Food Institute India, as Fahad mentioned already, is part of an international network of non-profit organizations working across 7 regions. And we mainly operate across 3 key pillars. The first one is science and technology, where we have a SciTech team that works to advance and open source the foundational science behind plant-based cultivated and fermentation-derived proteins through research funding, technical expertise, and collaboration with leading institutions. Industry, this is where I come in. Our industry team generates data driven insights and strategic research to support startups, corporates, and investors in navigating and scaling within the smart protein value chain. Then we have our policy team, which focuses on building regulatory clarity, enabling public funding for smart protein R&D, and working with government bodies to institutionalize this space in a fair and forward-thinking way. Together with our international affiliates, we act as a force multiplier, bringing global expertise into local contexts and helping build open access solutions that benefit the entire ecosystem. Now, let's take a quick look at what we will be covering today. We will start by setting context. The challenge we are facing globally and in India when it comes to food security, climate, and nutrition. From there, we will move to Smart Protein 101. What smart proteins actually are, how they are processed, and what sets them apart from conventional protein sources. Next, we will explore some of the exciting innovations and market trends that are shaping this space, both globally and right here in India. Then I will shift gears to what matters most for this audience, how students and young professionals like you can get involved. I will share examples of pathways people have taken and opportunities you can plug into today. We will also talk about how to think long term, building high impact career in the smart protein sector, what skills, mindset, and domains are shaping the future. And finally, we will wrap up with a quick look at how GFI India can support you on that journey with free resources, community platforms, and ongoing opportunities. Let's begin with the problem we all here to solve, the food systems challenge. By 2050, the world will need to feed nearly 10 billion people. That means we will have to produce 70% more food than we did in 2006 while using fewer resources, emitting less carbon, and preserving ecosystems that are already under pressure. It's not just about population growth, also income rise, especially in developing economies, diet shift. People consume more protein, more animal sourced food, and more resource intensive products. This isn't a distant issue. It's current and compounding pressure on land, water, and planetary health and boundaries. So the question we need to ask is not just how much food we can produce, but how can we produce it differently and efficiently? Here's what makes the food system challenge even more pressing. Yes, the global population is expected to grow by around 60% by 2050, but meat demand is projected to grow even faster, especially for poultry, which is expected to increase by 120%. And this isn't limited to poultry alone. Across categories, beef, pork, eggs, demand is rising sharply. More people, more protein, and increasingly resource intensive production systems. Why does this matter? Because conventional animal agriculture is already straining planetary boundaries, expanding it further at this scale without systematic shift only deepens the pressure on land, water, and emissions. This demand trajectory calls for solutions that can meet protein needs without scaling the problems that come with it. Let's now bring this conversation closer to home. Despite rising demand for animal protein globally, India is grappling with a very different but equally serious challenge, the protein deficiency. According to IMRB data, 73% of urban rich Indians are protein deficient. And perhaps more worrying, 93% of them aren't even aware of their daily protein requirements. This graph here breaks down actual calorie intake versus recommended intake across food groups. You will see that almost across every major protein source, dairy, legumes, pulses, meat, our intake is well below optimal levels, especially in rural and also in urban areas. In short, we are not consuming enough high quality protein, and where we do, it often comes at a high environmental cost. That makes the case even stronger for diversifying and improving our protein sources, especially in a country like India where nutritional security, affordability, and accessibility must go hand in hand. So not only we are under consuming quality protein in India, when we do consume it, it often comes with resource intensive sources that put tremendous strain on our ecosystems. One of the clearest example of this is water use. Globally, nearly 29% of average consumers' water footprint comes just from meat and dairy products. That's more than all cereals combined. Zooming on India, 70% of our freshwater withdrawals are used for agriculture, and a big chunk of that goes towards supporting animal agriculture. The result, over 600 million Indians are living under high to extreme water stress, and we currently rank in global 13th globally for water scarcity. Now imagine scaling that pressure further to meet rising meat demand. It becomes not just unsustainable but structurally impossible. So if we are looking for ways to feed a growing population without accelerating climate breakdown or worsening water stress, we need a better approach to protein. That's where the smart proteins come in. They offer the functionality of meat, eggs, and dairy, but without the intensive environmental cost of conventional animal agriculture. These foods are designed to be more resource efficient, climate resilient, and ethically produced, while still delivering on taste, nutrition, and consumer expectations. Let's now look at what smart proteins actually are. The smart proteins fall into three core categories, each with its own unique production method, cost profile, and infrastructure pathway. First is the plant based. These are made directly from crops like soy, chickpeas, peas, millet, and many other crops, transformed in, transformed using food science into meat, eggs, and dairy alternatives. In India, we already have players like Blue Try, there's Imagine, there's Good Dot, there are Altco, so many different players working in this space, brands which are innovating to, and the barrier to entry here is relatively low in terms of cost and regulatory complexity. Then we have cultivated meat. This is the real meat, but grown directly from animal cells in controlled environment without raising or slaughtering animals. It's an emerging field with exciting potential or climate and antibiotic resistance impact. Though the cost and infrastructure requirements are higher at this stage, you can think of it as biomanufacturing, but not animal farming. Then we have fermentation derived proteins. This is where microbes are the heroes, and using precision or biomass fermentation, we can produce functional ingredients like fermentation based whey, casein, or mycoproteins, etc. And there are again several companies in India as well as globally working in this space, which is really, really exciting. So now that we have seen what smart proteins are, let's talk about why they matter so much, particularly in the context of India's climate and environmental goals. This table here compares different protein sources across 5 environmental indicators. Everything from land to and water use to air pollution, toxic chemical usage, and greenhouse gas emissions. As you can see, plant-based meat, especially when made with crops like wheat or pulses, has the lowest environmental footprint across all metrics. Let's just take one example. Compared to the plant-based meat, conventional beef requires 44 times more land, 57 times more water, and produces 41 times more greenhouse gas emissions. Even cultivated meat, which is still emerging, already performs significantly better than conventional animal agriculture when powered with renewable energy. In a country like India, where agriculture already puts enormous pressure on land and water, and where we have made ambitious commitments under Paris Agreement, these numbers aren't just interesting, they are actionable. Smart proteins give us a rare opportunity to grow our protein supply without growing our environmental debt. Now that we understand the fundamentals of smart proteins and why they matter, let's shift gears to see how the space is evolving both globally and here in India. This isn't just a concept anymore. It's rapidly growing, innovation rich sector that's attracting startups, scientists, investors, and government interest across the world. First, we have the next generation of proteins. These go beyond soy and pea to include ingredients like chickpeas, mung beans, fava beans, different pulses, millets, etc. So people are moving to these novel sources of proteins. We are still exploring the indigenous crops for that. Then there are the fermentation derived proteins, which are getting a huge interest using microbial platforms to produce things like whey, egg white proteins, or mycoprotein. This category is exploding globally with precision fermentation companies now producing everything from milk protein to fats. Then cultivated proteins, meat, poultry, and seafood grown directly from cells are progressing through regulatory pathways and pilot production in countries like US, Singapore, Israel, and even in India. Finally, we have the hybrid products and the blended meats. So hybrid products are the products that they which merge plant-based fermentation and cultivated meat products to achieve the perfect flavor at the lower costs. While blended products or the blended meats are the meats which use plant-based proteins as well as conventional animal-based proteins combined to reduce the cost while and reduce the climate impact while giving it texture, nutrition, and affordability. In India, the innovation momentum is equally exciting and is uniquely shaped by our local needs. There's a growing rise of alternative proteins across categories meat, eggs, dairy, and seafood, all with distinctly Indian flavors and formats. We are also seeing a focus on indigenous crops, millets, pulses, and regional legumes being used in smart protein products like ready to cook meals or protein rich snacks. This is not only boost to boost nutrition, but also support our farming ecosystems. Functional and fortified products are gaining ground too. Think of protein enhanced food and beverages, sports supplements. I think now if you use any social media, it's everywhere. You see high protein pasta, you see high protein milk, you see everything high protein now on internet, which is like a huge trend right now in India. And finally, there is like emerging spotlight on upcycled proteins using byproducts or food waste streams to extract valuable protein ingredients, which supports both sustainability and circular bioeconomy goals. And here you can cite examples like oilseed meals, and then there are like whey extracts. Then there are so many different side streams which are being currently being utilized for protein production. This momentum isn't just limited to ideas, it's already materializing in the market. As of now, we are tracking over 559 smart protein product SKUs across 79 different formats, and most of them are like India specific formats from 81 brands right now in India. Now that we have explored the science, trends, and market momentum behind smart proteins, let's talk about you and how you can plug into this space. The truth is, there's been never been better time for students and early career professionals to enter this field. And there are more entry points than you might think. There are a few reasons why this momentum is so exciting and so wide open. First, the sector is growing fast, but it's still young. That means there's a space for students to find partners, collaborators, and mentors, and to lead in areas that haven't yet been fully explored. Second, the work you do here can genuinely create impact across climate, health, nutrition, and animal welfare. You're not just building a career, but you're building solutions. Third, this space sits at the intersection of many disciplines: science, engineering, design, economics, policy. No matter your background, there's a room for you in here. And lastly, working in this field means staying ahead of the curve, learning about cutting edge tech and emerging applications before they become mainstream. One great example of student engagement is the Spark Fellowship Program. Through Spark, we support student-led research across plant-based fermentation derived and cultivated proteins, mentored by leading faculty at institutes like NIFTEM, IIT Bombay, IIT Madras, IHBT, and supported by our JFI India's SciTech team. Beyond research, we also believe in building a strong, inclusive community of talent. Speaking of students, JFI India's global flagship program, Alt Protein Project, also known as the Smart Protein Project in India, is a student-led movement wherein groups from various universities around the world aim to advance the smart protein education, research, entrepreneurship, awareness, and community building. Globally, we have over 70 APP chapters, with 5 active chapters in India across Delhi, Chennai, and Mumbai, with more coming soon. The Smart Protein Project has sown the seeds of great leaders and experts in the smart protein space who are already making massive strides. Two such examples are Kamal Nayan and Arman, alumnus of Mumbai and Delhi Smart Protein projects respectively, who have founded startups in this sector. Arman have a startup in fermentation-based pet food, while Kamal Nayan is like leading one of the India's very first cultivated meat startups. And then the GF Ideas India community, which is like the collaborator for this webinar series as well. The GF Ideas India community with over 1300 members and counting is a perfect avenue for you to get into the sector. It is a community of researchers, students, innovators, entrepreneurs, and everyone who is like interested in the ecosystem sharing ideas. And this is community together. We bring this community together through in-person and virtual events, webinars, student competitions, and much more. All this with aim of enabling strong and effective collaborations among our members. You can join this community by filling the form on our website, and it will also be shared with you following this webinar. The applications for APP will open again in February 2026, but if you are interested, please scan the QR code to submit your interest in forming a student-led smart protein project group at your university. If you are wondering how to turn interest into action, this section is for you. Let's talk about how to carve out a meaningful future-facing career in the smart protein space. If you are looking for roles in science and technology, some of the areas you might focus on are more upstream in the value chain, where you are focused on identifying raw materials, ingredients, and inputs for product formulation. It's no surprise that research and development makes a large chunk of the alternative protein value chain, especially right now as we are working to create delicious, sustainable, and nutritious products that can compete with conventional animal products on taste, texture, and price. While we know there is a lot of technological innovation that's needed to develop the products that consumer love, we also need to zoom out and view the entire alternative protein ecosystem. When we do so, we see a greater diversity of roles, not limited to science and engineering. The bottom line is that each segment of this value chain employs many different roles requiring varying skill sets. Fortunately, we can learn a lot from patterns we have seen in other emerging industries. This list of steps for training yourself in the emerging field come from folks in ecological forecasting space. We won't dive into each one of the steps for sake of time, but I highly encourage you to go through each of the steps in your own time. This is still an emerging field, which means there are no rigid paths, and that's a good thing. And don't wait for the perfect conditions. Start wherever you are and grow from there. Lack of training resources can be a huge issue for emerging fields. So that's why GFI India has made it our goal to create these resources and make them open access. I will go over some of our resources over the next few slides. So far, we have talked about why smart proteins matter, what's happening in India and globally, and how students and young professionals can begin engaging with this space. In the final section, I want to quickly walk you through some of the resources and opportunities GFI India offers to help you take that next step. Let's start with learning. If you are new to smart proteins or want to build a solid technical foundation, our free MOOC is great place to begin. It's called the Protein Transition, the science behind alternative proteins, and it covers the biological and chemical processes behind plant-based fermentation derived and cultivated meat. It's entirely self-paced and open access. You can scan the QR code here and start it anytime. It is also available on our as well as all GFI affiliate websites. Next, we recommend diving into our student resource guide. Think of it as a curated starting point for exploring the sector, whether you are looking to research, build a project, or find inspiration. We also publish state of the industry reports each year for plant-based, cultivated, and fermentation derived categories. These are globally respected data-rich resources that track innovation, investment, regulation, and scientific advancements in each domain. Our affiliate team at GFI APAC has also recently published a comprehensive alt protein career pathways tool, which provides detailed information on various job archetypes, skill requirements, and training programs across the three verticals of alternative protein. This serves as a key resource in understanding the smart protein employment landscape and helps students plan out their trajectory to kickstart their smart protein career. Together, these efforts are laying the foundation for a future-ready smart protein workforce, one that's informed, inspired, and equipped to drive the lasting change in the sector. Then we have Smart Protein Pod, which is a podcast series that we will be releasing soon, and here's a teaser for that. And finally, here are a few external platforms that are incredibly helpful for career exploration. 80,000 hours. This is a job board put together by Center for Effective Altruism, and you can filter here by factory farming and climate aligned careers to find roles in alternative proteins. Then there is Animal Advocacy Careers, which is especially useful if you are interested in research or policy impact. Their skills profiles are very well designed. Then there is Talist. This is again an open source job board focused entirely on alt protein companies and adjacent roles, and includes remote and early career listings too. And finally, I would like to tell, if you are interested in the space, some the things you can explore are the first thing to start is the JFI India website, where you get a lot of resources. Follow us on our social media like LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter, where we constantly post updates about like the sector, the opportunities in the sector, etc. Please join the JF Ideas India community, and it is a great way to connect with other interesting people in the space. Thank you all for being part of today's session. I hope I this gave you a clearer picture of what smart proteins are, why they matter, and how you can be a part of this fast-growing movement. If you are interested in diving deeper, whether through research, community, or career building, I will repeat, please visit our website. You will find open access resources, research repositories, funding opportunities, events, and more. With that, I think I will hand it over back to Fahad.
Thank you, Aakashraj. Thank you for an insightful session. So now I would request the attendees if they have any queries. It is an open house. You can ask any queries of yours. Anyone? Anyone having any queries?
Father, I just have got one question.
Sure, sure. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you're talking about this, since just wanted to understand, currently, the people who are using non-veg and now currently who are going to use this as a part. Now, what is the percentage? Because after knowing in the current scenario, because a lot of vegetarians are moving to non-veg now. So now, what is the percentage of saying that okay, this product is going to be, because you might have done some survey, right?
Sure, I can take that. So, right
Yes.
now, 70% of Indians consume non-veg. But if you look at the
Okay.
per capita consumption of people eating non-vegetarian foods in India, that is still less. That means we consume less meat compared to China or any Western developed countries. Now, how much
Okay.
can be substituted by plant proteins? We don't have like the exact figures,
Hmm.
but if you see like India is already protein deficient, and going forward, we already see government trying to fill up that gap, and plant proteins, which are like actually like cheaper alternatives to even animal-based sources, can act as a like key driver
Hmm.
to fill up that protein deficiency gap in India.
So you meant to say that whatever this innovation is going to happen, it would be cheaper than whatever people are eating the non-veg now?
Certainly, because if you look at like the cost of soy protein, if you ask me like what is the cheapest commercially available protein right now in the world, it's
Hmm.
soy protein, which is like much more cheaper than any animal-based source, like even egg or chicken. And then there are like other side stream, like other soils, other oil seeds are there. Then there are like brewers fermented yeast, BSG, BSY. These are the side streams of brewing industry or the distillery industry. Then there are side stream of sugar industry, which can be diverted to producing mycelium based proteins like mycoproteins. So these proteins which are made from side stream will be definitely more cost effective than any of the animal based proteins, because right now these products are used as feed for these animals. So certainly that's a like huge
Okay.
possibility for future.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the question. Anybody else? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Fahad, I have a question for Akash.
Sure.
Uh,
Please.
so, yeah. It was a great session, Akash, but I feel that you said that the smart protein industry is young, but there are also already existing players who are doing well in that front. So, do you still see new companies coming in that space, or how is the industrial landscape shaping in that respect?
Yeah, so we are not running dry of innovation yet. So when I say like there is a lot of momentum and a lot of companies coming up. If you see like 2020, 2022, a lot of startups launched in the plant-based meat, eggs and dairy space, which innovated on the products versus this year we are seeing a huge momentum in the ingredient space. So the upstream side. Because as these startups progress, they are also like finding new challenges. Like most of the startups, they found challenges with ingredients where to, because like most of protein ingredients right now are imported in India from say China or Western countries. So now there are startups focusing on that. Then there are startups focusing on fermentation technologies. There are startups focusing on novel ingredients and like additives, fats, etc., making better textures, novel texturizing technologies, etc. So I think like even though like there is a lot of momentum, I think like the thing is not, the sector is not yet mainstream. So there is certainly a lot to do. I hope that
Yeah,
answers
thank
your
you.
question.
Thank you, Akash.
Anyone else having any queries, please? Yeah, Kashraj, I guess that's it. No more queries from the attendees. So it was a great session. Thank you for taking us deep dive into the protein sectors as a India as well as globally. What is current scenarios in plant-based protein? So we hope we continue this webinar series and bring some more uh, different aspects in smart proteins and all in the next session. So thank you once again for a wonderful session. Thank you so much. Thank you all the participants. Thank you for your time. Thank you everyone.
Thank you
So
so much for
with this we'll conclude the event. Thank you, Aakashraj. Thank you everyone.
thank
Thank you
you
for joining.
everyone. Have a nice day ahead. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.